Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Lutfiana Izzati. My student number is 83. In this video, I will share explanation about spoken discourse. The first is, what is spoken discourse? Spoken discourse is an interactive speech between two or more people, which is a broad-based language phenomenon in daily life. Next is characteristic of spoken discourse. The first is gesture or body language. Gesture are body movement that a person makes when communicating with the intention of displaying and emphasizing the meaning of the message. Next is stress. Stress is the relative emphasis that may be given to certain syllable in a word or to certain word in a phrase or sentence. Next is intonation. Intonation is the use changing, rising and falling vocal pitch to convey grammatical information or personal attitude. And then pausing and pricing. The pausing and pricing technique affect timing. It involves teaching a person who stutters to pause briefly at natural point in a conversation. And then next is pitch range. Pitch in speech, the relative highness or loudness of a tone as perceived by the ear. There are three parts of the pitch range: low, mid, and high pitch. Next is rhythm. Rhythm is the sense of movement in speech, marked by the stress, timing, and quantity of syllables. The next slide is type of spoken discourse. The first, spontaneous spoken discourse, and the two is non-spontaneous spoken discourse. Spontaneous spoken discourse have two contexts. The first, unplanned when speakers do not know exactly what they are going to say before they said it, and they put their words together as they are talking. Example like being gossip with friend over coffee, chat stranger at the bus stop, something like that. And the second is semi-planned. The speakers have an idea about the sort of thing that they are going to say before they say it. Example, a man proposing marriage to his sweetheart. And then non-spontaneous spoken discourse, have two contexts. The first is semi-script. It is when similar to semi-planned, except that some of the plan of words have been written down. Example, a lecturer read from the PPT slide, or a public speaker use a written list of points. Then is a script. It is on the borderline with written discourse because it amounts to reading aloud written word. Example like news report on radio and TV. Then is context of spoken discourse. In a discourse, the existence of context is very important because context can affect the meaning of word in a discourse. Both spoken and written discourse is actually a combination of text and context. In other words, a text can be called as a discourse if there is context. In this case, speaker will understand a text if they also understand the context that accompanies the text. Context can be classified into three types. The first is situational context, the second is background knowledge context, and the third is contextual context. The first is situational context, namely the knowledge of the speaker based on everything they see around them. In other words, the state of the typical situation visually regarding the place where the interaction between the speaker and the others occurs. The second is background knowledge context. Background knowledge context, namely the speaker's knowledge about the interlocutor and also about the word. The context of this basic knowledge consists of cultural knowledge and interpersonal knowledge. If the interlocutors are from the same group, they will normally assume the same knowledge about everything they know. Sharing the context of interpersonal knowledge requires verbal interaction of previous experience. The third is contextual context, or commonly known as a context, which is the speaker's knowledge of what he has said.